Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 5th to the 11th of December 2022. So this week we have Mercury and Venus both moving into Capricorn, and they're making a square to Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces. So a square between Sagittarius and Pisces causes some friction across the skies for the next week, and the Sun will be joining in as well. We have the full moon in Gemini, and last week I was describing the mutable signs, the ones that take us out of one season and into the next. So as last week, most of the energy is in Sagittarius, Pisces and Gemini this week. Jupiter's at the last degree of Pisces, set to step over into Aries at the winter solstice, and that energy will be tangible. But for now we're going to the centre. Sagittarius goes to the centre of everything, to get the point. And Pisces is the centre of every cell of our body. So we're really doing the last rinsing out of the inward journey, going in bravely to see what's in our waters, to see what we're holding on to, emotional retention, density and baggage, and be able to rinse off this and many other lifetimes stored experiences so that we can be light and free and make space for the new energies to come in. So that's the backdrop this week. Squares and oppositions in the mutable signs, Jupiter getting ready to move on. But before we rush to see what that's going to be like, really embracing the lessons we've learned, the alchemy we've performed, and giving ourselves permission to let go and make room. So Mercury moves into Capricorn on the 7th, and we're heading towards a Mercury retrograde. So this will be from the 29th of December to the 19th of January, but we're in the first phase by the 7th, and the degrees for that, for anyone following along, are 24 back to 8 degrees Capricorn. So look to see where that is in your chart, pretty much most of Capricorn, to see where this Mercury retrograde will be beneficial to you, as there's often a lot of fear written around this astrological aspect of a Mercury retrograde, but sometimes we benefit the most from taking the journey. So from now until the 29th of December, first phase of Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, turning our minds inwards, the sharp sword of focus, to our deep values, to our core structure, to our self-governance, to where we stand strong and tall. And we can use this to judge whether the ground under our feet is solid and supportive, or if there's anything in our beliefs that's undermining us and unstable. So we'll talk more about that in weeks to come, but just to let you know we're heading into that first phase. So if you keep notes on this, then have a look at what comes up to awareness, have a look at where that is in your chart, start to turn your mind to your core values and strength, and challenge anything that seems unstable or ready to be deconstructed. But the main event of this week is the full moon in Gemini. It's on the 8th at 4:07 in the morning UK time. So we have the Sun opposite the Moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and Mars is conjunct to the Moon. Mars is right next to the Moon at 16 Gemini as well. So we're seeing the full moons of the last few months run in alignment with the Mars retrograde, which we've spoken about, taking our passion and going within. But here the full moon in Gemini at the time of Mercury retrograde, I feel this has an independent message as well. So we're looking at having a sovereign mind, and Gemini is sometimes in two minds. We're looking at our passion by all means, but any frustration as well with Mars, any anger. So we're exploring our thoughts and the feelings that that leads to while we're rinsing out in Pisces, like I said earlier. And this moon can be used to really help us become open-minded. You may notice a lot in the modern world is opinion over research, kind of knee-jerk reaction, emotional response to something. People wanting to believe something and acting upon it. But we do need to make sure that whatever we're believing, wherever we're coming from, is actually fundamentally true. One of the keys to working with the mind in Gemini, to make sure that you're a fully rounded, independent thinker, is to take any one of your beliefs and explore the opposite. So we've got the two twins here, the light and dark, the male and female, the old and young. Because sometimes we can get quite sedentary in our beliefs, just because we've believed something for a long time. Or we can cave to peer group pressure and just naturally believe something because everybody else around us is in that narrative. But can you flip it? Can you consider the opposite and actually find where you are on the scale? So this is a very, very useful exercise just to check in and make sure that what you're saying and feeling and acting upon is actually still your belief and fundamentally true. So Gemini rules information, the mind, the mental, but can also be medical. We've got the caduceus, the symbol of Mercury, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. As we go into this Mercury retrograde, then medical issues might come up, or a change of mind required around the medical field. And then there's finance as well, because Mercury is quicksilver. Mercury actually rules money. So we've got the flexibility to change our mind, the fair-mindedness to look at the opposite and find where we are in the middle, considerations for how our thoughts and feelings influence our actual bodily health and our ability to heal ourselves. And then we've got a financial aspect as well. So this is all happening around the full moon in Gemini, with Mars in the mix. We're about halfway through the Mars retrograde now, set to go direct around the 13th of January. So a bit of a revision could happen here as well, a reflection with the full moon and an introspection with the Mercury retrograde as to how much we've learnt so far. It's been going on since the 31st of October, things coming up for revision. And we've spoken in previous weeks about how we need to value our energy and talent and time. And if we place that in an aligned direction, this changes our whole view of who we are, life purpose and direction. So a bit of a reflection here. What's your Mars retrograde story been since the 31st of October? Have you found your passion? Have you directed your energy in a more precise fashion? Has any frustration come up? And of the experiences that we've had, can we find the lesson within, which causes great expansion? It tends to dissolve many of the problems that we have in our current lives. When we change at a fundamental degree on the inside, then everything else on the outside tends to dissolve away. So we can see that there's great opportunity for healing here, for independence, for focus, for energizing, and even rejuvenation. Gemini is a very young sign, and all the stresses and strains and false beliefs of life does tend to add to the aging process. So can we actually go back to the playful inner child and let go of some of the baggage that we're believing in, dragging along with us, and feel younger as a result, and step forward into a much more positive landscape, having made the changes deep within. So if you'd like to see where this is happening for you, I am available, zoehind7@gmail.com, for chart readings, lessons and coaching. And I also offer gift vouchers for the holiday season, as readings are deep and personal and last for many years. Please remember to like and share this video if you can, and you'll find more astrological videos on my YouTube channel, Zoe Astro, and I post the links for these ones. Facebook @AstroZoe, Instagram @ZoeHind7. So those are the horoscopes this week, and I'll see you next week.